How's it going? I'm Paul Callahan from the Herb Lyceum. Cooking for you today. I will be making a red curry squash soup. Very easy. One pot pickup, no sauteing. Basically just put everything into a pot, bring it up to a boil, adjust the seasonings, and puree. So to start, I got some red curry squash here. Put into a pan some raw Spanish onion, also put into the pan. Some raw parsnips put into the pan, and some carrots put into the pan. The carrots and the parsnips will also add a little sweet flavor to the soup. Won't mask any of the squash flavor, but also contribute some of that root vegetable flavor to the soup. The onions will add a little bit of the little acidity to the soup. I don't use any chicken stock in my soup. I find that to be somewhat masking sometimes, not pure to the vegetable. So I do add some water. I find that to be very pure to the vegetables, so you can really taste the trueness of the vegetables. I don't use any cream. I do use milk. The milk, I find, once it hits the heat, adds some beautiful caramelized notes that you get from the bottom of the pan. The cream I find to be a little heavy. But I will be finishing it with a little butter to give you that cream texture. Instead of adding what traditional people would be adding to a squash soup would be your nutmegs, your allspice, I'm going to be adding some cardamom. I find the red curry squash to be just an interesting squash. It seems to be a little bit sweeter, almost more like a sugar pumpkin is. But if you can't find red curry squash, I recommend using a sugar pumpkin or a butternut squash, which you can find basically in any local grocery store. But if you do have the chance to find one of these, it's definitely worth the try, just to give it a different flavor that you will be looking for. And then now that everything is in the pot, I'm going to be putting it on the stove. I'm going to turn it up. You don't want it too high because the milk will have a tendency to bubble over. But you do want it to come up to a boil and then turn it down for about 30 minutes. So the squash just got done. It's been cooking for about 30 minutes. As you can see in here, the squash and the parsnips and the carrots are starting to break down, getting really soft. You can almost mash them with just the back of the ladle. The milk is now this beautiful yellowy orange color. And you can smell the cardamom now that it's been cooking for about that half hour. One note, when you are using a hot soup going into a blender, you do want to make sure that there's an air vent on top, because that heat can just, wants to release, wants to escape. So if it's really covered, you can create a mess, and believe me, I've done it myself. So I'm just going to add some of this soup to the blender, and I haven't added any salt or pepper yet. Which I will add now. This is a good time to start doing your seasoning. I'm adding probably about maybe two tablespoons, maybe 1 tablespoon of the of pepper. At this time, I do add a little fat on the butter. Butter helps it emulsify, adds a nice creaminess to it that you can't get by just pureeing it up with just some milk. It also helps it to fluff up a little bit. So like I said, so now you see the steam coming up. You want to cover it a little bit. Turn your blender on low at first, and then once it starts to puree, you can move up to your higher speeds. So I'm going to show you how to do a very easy cranberry compote that we do here at the Herb Lyceum. You can find these dry cranberries at almost any type of grocery. They will also be known as craisins, which is a cross of a cranberry and a raisin. So what I took here is about half a cup of some of the dried cranberries, added some water to rehydrate them. So now that they're rehydrated, just put them in a pan with the water, some brown sugar, just turn it up. Let this cook down, simmer for about 15 minutes. You can tell when you're almost there by the size of the bubbles in the pan. The larger that they are, the more reduced that your caramel will develop. but you don't want it to go too far because you don't want it to burn or stick to the bottom of the pan. So now that the cranberries have been bubbling for about 15-20 minutes, you can see on the side of the pan here the bubbles that's starting to create. Not quite there. You want them to get a little bit bigger than what they're shown there. But you can see the caramel developing and the cranberries starting to soften. So right about this time is a really good time to add your fresh rosemary, just to bloom some of those oils on there. You don't want to cook out the rosemary at the beginning, so you always want to add them at the end. This can be used to garnish soups. You can serve this on the side with a pork roast. This is a good alternative. You could put on a turkey sandwich. So this compote can be used in many different ways. Very versatile, and it can last up to a couple weeks in your refrigerator because of the sugar content. So as you can see that there is some liquid in the pan. Don't be afraid. Once this chills, it will all come together. It will thicken up on you. It will turn into the compote. But this is the consistency that you are looking for. So there you have it, red curry squash soup with cardamom and cranberry and rosemary compote.